to be like the rock that the waves keep crashing over. It stands unmoved, and the raging of the sea falls still around it. That is the first quote I ever remember from the Meditations of Marcus Aurelius when I read it over a decade ago. And that exact quote is the reason I was so interested in Stoicism. I wanted to be like the rock that the waves crash over. I wanted to be unmoved. And at that point in my life, when I was younger, everything would shake me, everything would pull me and drag me under. I was trapped in this storm being pulled whichever way the world wanted to pull me. And I had no say in this. I had no power in this. And I was a nervous wreck and anxious, and I had no stance, no confidence. And I vowed to become like the rock. I thought to myself, if it's possible for Marcus Aurelius, and then it's possible for all these other Stoics, and then it's possible for all these millions of people that have studied Stoicism, they've become like the rock. How can I be like the rock? And I vowed to be like the rock. And somewhere along the line, there was a shift. I was no longer moved by the storms. I was no longer moved by the externals of the world. People would no longer irritate me like they once did. I'll no longer be dragged into foolishness like I once was. And the noise around me that was once so distracting, but also so deafening, and also so inviting and alluring, these things became silent. And there were just waves crashing over me. But I was unmoved. How did this happen? There are many Stoic principles that have helped me along the way, but keeping in mind that I wanted to be like the rock that the waves crashed over, there were a few principles that really helped me. Some practical exercises and principles that I took into my life, that I used every single day, that helped me to become like the rock. Today's episode is powered by Huel. Let's jump into the episode. I think the first thing, it's an exercise that Marcus Aurelius does. He breaks things down into their simplest form, which is essentially the truth. And he says that we should seek the truth. So he breaks things down into their simplest form. So when there is an argument or a debate going on around you, and you hear your name be brought into it, or you hear an opposing opinion that you don't agree with, initially you add all this weight and emotional attachments to this event. So you're not seeing the thing for what it is. You're seeing it for something else, and your imagination, your emotion attaches more to it and adds weight to this thing. So two people talking becomes an attack towards you that you need to get involved in, and then you need to amplify, and then a week later you're involved in a huge argument, ruining your character, stressing yourself out, wasting your time. But Marcus Aurelius just liked to break things down. This is just two people making noise about subjects that they don't have much knowledge on. So that's the first thing, is to just break it down into what it simply is. It's not an attack on you. It's just two people talking about things that they're ill-informed on. And then you start to go into something that the Stoics recommended, is to understand people. So Marcus Aurelius recommends that, these people who criticism we so rely on, we lean on their criticism, and we're so worried about them and their judgment. He invites us into this exercise where we consider what these people are really like. What makes them give applause? What makes them cause criticism? What they're truly like? What their motivations are? Who they are when no one is watching, when they're alone. You start to understand that their opinions, their criticism isn't that important. That these people that are criticizing you and hating on you and trying to antagonize you, they're the kind of person that've been brought up and been falsely taught that it's okay and it's beneficial to waste all your time hating on someone, criticizing them, and trying to antagonize them. They think this is okay. So this kind of person that has this moral blindness, because the Stoics say that moral blindness is worse than physical blindness, because they're not even aware of what they're doing. They're not aware of the good they're missing out on. They're not aware of the evil that they're doing, or the wrongs, or the pain that they're causing. They're not aware that they're doing something that is not good with them, that is not in line with their nature. So these people, their criticisms, their judgments are really not important. And if you wouldn't take advice from these people, you wouldn't seek these people for advice, why do you allow their criticism and their judgment to hold any weight over you? You are the rock, and they are the waves. You control yourself. You control the rock, your internal world, how you respond to the waves that crash around you. And they'll keep crashing every single day, which brings me to my next point is we must expect these things, because the waves will always come at us. Life will always try to drag us under. People will try to drag us under. Life will throw us difficulties and challenges. When we expect these things, we are prepared for these things, as the Stoics say, like a wrestler. We train ourselves against these impressions, against these insults, against these difficulties. Every day is a step towards growth. Every day we are learning. And like you would if you're studying for a test, or you're training your body to lift a certain weight at the gym, we must train our minds and our character for the difficulties that will lay ahead. So we expect at some point we'll face the greatest and darkest storms, and life will try to drag us under and destroy us. The waves will batter against the rock. We train for this. We prepare ourselves for this. We say we know this may happen at one point. And we prepare for this like you would prepare for a difficult test or for a great weight that you're going to lift in the gym. And we keep preparing ourselves every single day. So when these things do happen, they do not catch us off guard. A quick word from our sponsor, Huel. I really like Huel. When I was writing my book, I was using Huel to power me through every single day. When I had my daily greens, when I had my meals, when I had my shakes, it stopped me from going to the shop, buying a load of rubbish, buying a load of unhealthy food, wasting loads of money. And these things do add up. Those quick journeys to the shop every day, the money adds up, the unhealthy foods add up, the wasted time adds up. So if I ever get those cravings, I grab a Huel and it fills my cravings. I feel good, it tastes delicious, it's quick and easy. And if you have any interest in the Huel products, then check the link in the description. Let's get back to the episode. The next point to remain like the rock is what I like to call the pause. Viktor Frankl, who was a neurologist, he was a psychologist, and he was a survivor of the concentration camps. He wrote Man's Search for Meaning, which is a best-selling book about his time in the concentration camps and his reflection on this. It's a very powerful book. He says that everything can be taken from man except the last of the human freedoms, one's ability to choose how to respond in any given set of circumstances. We always have this freedom at any point, and what this freedom is to have access to the second A in the three A's. So the first A is awareness. We become aware of a thing that has happened. The wave is about to crash over us. Someone has said something mean. And then we normally jump to this third A. It's natural instinct for most humans to jump to the third A, which is the knee-jerk reaction. Action. So we are aware of the wave, we are aware of the insult, and we jump to action instinctively as a knee-jerk reaction. And this normally ends quite bad. It's normally the wrong thing to do because we haven't had consideration. There is a second A in this, in the three A's, which is assessment. And that is what Viktor Frankl talks about, is the space to choose. There is always this space. So we have the awareness, the wave is crashing, the person says the insult, we become aware of this, and then we make the assessment. Is this so bad? Is this person ill-informed? Is this person trying to do good? Do I need to get involved? Is this really an insult? Is this person correct? Is this worth me wasting my time over? And that assessment can happen in a few seconds. And then we take action, because then the action is based off of more information and of consideration for our future. So in becoming like the rock, to be unshaken by the events of life, to be unfazed by the events of life, we must then understand that the waves are part of nature. As with the challenges of life, this is the fate we've been given. So as the Stoics say, amor fati, to love your fate, to understand that the waves will keep crashing and crashing and crashing and crashing every single day of your life. The Buddhists knew this, that suffering is inevitable. The waves will crash every day and you'll be hit by the waves. We must love the fact that fate has been handed to us, because we can make the best of the fate that is handed to us. So each difficulty is no longer you being knocked down. Each difficulty is a challenge for you to overcome. It is a step up. It is not a thing to knock you down. It is a difficulty laid in front of you that you can eventually climb upon and get higher. And each step will take you further and further. So love your fate. And then it brings it full circle with the most important principle of the Stoics, and even the most important principle of life, is to understand that we are mortal. And this is something I really like to do when people try to annoy me, or bad situations happen, or I've got difficulties to face, or a hard decision, or something that I might be a bit nervous about, a big challenge, I'm not sure if I can do it, or maybe something I'm considering whether I should do it or shouldn't do it. And I just think, memento mori. I remember my own mortality. I remember that any day could be my last. This moment could be my last. And all the waves crashing around me settle down. They don't really matter, because do I care about that wave or that wave or that wave, or the 10,000th wave that hit that day? Will I even care about this when I'm laying on my deathbed, thinking back over my life, thinking what was important, thinking about all the waves I cared about, all the buses missed, or the annoying people, or the bad little situations, the irritations that happen in life? Would this even come into my mind laying on my deathbed? And it wouldn't. I'd be annoyed that I didn't do certain things because I was scared of the waves. I'd be annoyed I didn't live my life because of the waves. When you start to understand all these principles, you start to feel calmer, start to feel more certain. Things don't irritate you or annoy you as much. Because if you expect these things, these irritances and annoyances, like you expect the birds to chirp or the dogs to bark, they're just a part of nature. They are just a part of nature. That is it. Like every part of nature, they are there and you expect them. Your role is to not defy nature. Your role, as the Stoics say, is to live in accordance with nature. What is your nature? Well, you have a reasoning mind. You're drawn to being a social creature. You are drawn to virtue because virtue is beneficial for society. Virtue is beneficial for yourself, your character. So all this that's going on around us, all these waves crashing, all these rude people, all these things that are just part of nature, if you can access your nature and be a good person, good member of society, if you can be virtuous, following courage, wisdom, temperance, and justice, if you can follow courage, you can follow wisdom, you can follow temperance, you can follow justice, if you can really soak these things into yourself, this becomes your foundation. So that no matter what wave falls over you, no matter how hard it knocks you down, you always have a foundation to stand on. That foundation of being a good man. There is no pursuit more noble than that of being a good man or a good woman. or a good person, being good is better than being great. And being great is a trap we all fall for. It is our ego pursuing something that seems far beyond our limitations. And I don't believe things are beyond our limitations, but we do this to feel good about ourselves. We fly closer and closer to the sun. And we'll even get burnt flying close to the sun. And we'll keep flying close to that sun because we want to soar high. What is truly great in life is to be good. Marcus Aurelius understood this as Emperor of Rome. He was probably seen at the time as the greatest man alive. But in his personal life, he just wanted to be good. That was his greatest pursuit, because being great can distract us. It can draw us away. It can get us lost. We can be shaken because we lose a sense of self. We believe in this idea of greatness. So this is my thoughts and my understanding of how to be like the rock that the waves crash upon. Now, when you understand, I just remembered the last point, that you don't control these waves, that they will happen regardless. The only thing you do control is yourself. Then you can just let these things be. Because you let all these things happen as part of nature, but then you focus on what you do control yourself, how you react to this. Then you can pay attention to the thing you control. You can pay attention to the opinions you're making about the waves, the opinions you're making about this annoying person. You can pay attention to the things you desire, the things you move towards, what seems alluring to you, what's gaining your attention, your motivations. You can pay attention to your dislikes, the way you're responding in an aversive manner. You can pay attention to this and be aware of this and move towards progress. I hope someone finds that helpful, because if I've said it correct, it will be helpful, because that's helped me drastically. And that is it for day 44 Stoic School with myself, William Mulligan, the author of The Everyday Stoic, Simple Rules for a Good Life. I had someone comment saying they wanted the book, they were going to get the book, and that they said greetings from Canada. The book looks like this in Canada, just so you know. So you don't get this. I don't want you paying like import duties on the UK version. This is in Canada and in the States. Thank you for listening, and I hope you have a wonderful day. And if you want to support me, then just leave a like, subscribe, definitely subscribe, leave a rating on your streaming platform. And if you really want to help me and help someone else, just introduce them to Stoic School, because Stoicism has changed my life. It's saved so many people's lives, and you could help someone else, which in turn helps me, which in turn helps you, because you're doing a good thing. Thank you for listening, and have a wonderful day.